Hi everyone, I hope you are well. Thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. I'm so excited to have you here with me. Depending on where you are in the world, it may be the morning, but for me it is the evening here in Australia. So I am all about building communities and meaningful connections because my true belief is that we're only one connection away from our next big break. So let's create some genuine connections here today. I would love to know a little bit more about you. So if you can pop in the chat box who you are, what your Clubhouse handle is, or what your social handle is. If you've been to one of my masterclass before, you know I absolutely love Clubhouse, but if you've got an Instagram business page or personal page that you'd love me to check out and follow you along, please do drop that in the chat box. I would love to know a bit more about you and get to know you. Let me know where you're from and what it is you do, and also what inspired you to attend today? Why are you here? Why are you investing this time in yourself and your development? Like, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve from being here today? So I feel our journey to finding success on our own terms is supported by genuine conversations and our ability to create community through genuine connections. And that's part of why I do these free masterclasses every month, to bring people together. Thank you ever so much for dropping your social links in the chat. I look forward to checking them all out a bit later. So let's get started. I know time is precious, so we probably will have a few more people jump in and join us as we go through the masterclass, but let's get on with it, really. And if you have any specific questions as we go through, do drop them in the chat box and I will do my best to keep an eye on them and also come back to you. If I don't get an opportunity to come back during masterclass to any of the questions you ask, I will come back to you individually after the masterclass. So, do you relate to one or many of these things on the slide you can see right now? So, getting overrun by imposter syndrome, feeling like you're not worthy, you're not good enough. Do you say to yourself, I don't have what it takes? Do you keep telling yourself stories that get yourself stuck, stories that you can't do something? Do you let your inner critic hold you back? Feel like you don't have what it takes to live the life that you want? I get it. If you identify with one or more of those questions, I completely get it. I used to say all of those things to myself and more. And on occasion, I still do. I'm not going to lie, I don't have it all together just yet. But I have learned a number of tools and techniques to catch those thought patterns that I trap myself in, that cause me a little bit of overwhelm and cause me to start doubting myself. And if you follow any of my social feeds, if you've been following me on social media for a while, you will know that the meanest girl I've ever met used to live inside my head. And I've spent so long not doing things that I wanted to do just because I didn't feel I was good enough or capable, and I was worried what other people would say. I'd look around at all these other people already doing what I wanted to do and think, my God, they're doing an absolutely amazing job. They are killing it. I can't compete with them. I can't do it as good as them. I remember as I was writing out these slides, it was really emotional for me to go back through that and think about that and think how I used to talk to myself and how I used to tell myself, I can't do things. So, like I said, being real with you, I don't have it all figured out. I don't have it together every single moment of every day. I still find myself sometimes questioning in certain situations that I'm going to be found out for a fraud any second, and that I'm not worthy or deserving to be in some of the rooms I find myself in with some of the people, having some of the conversations I now get to have. And I've learned tools along my journey to catch those thought patterns to enable me to show up as my best self in the situations where I feel a little bit out of my depth. And I'm hoping by the end of this masterclass that you go away with one or two tools that can really help you move forwards with switching up your mindset to create thought patterns that enable you to go after what you want instead of keeping yourself stuck. It is my mission to provide you with practical guidance that you can put into action straight away to support you on your journey to turning your big dream into a reality. So, now this is not groundbreaking, and I know most of you would have heard this before, but our stories and our beliefs really impact us, and we really need to control the stories that we are telling ourselves on a daily basis or a monthly basis, weekly basis, whatever it is. When we find ourselves in a situation that we feel slightly uncomfortable or out of our depth, we need to be mindful of what we are telling ourselves. We're constantly creating these stories in our minds and trying to make sense of what's happening around us. At the same time, our brains are constantly processing and tapping into what has happened in the past, which shapes our beliefs and who we are, what we believe to be true and what we believe to be capable of, and what we think we deserve. So I want you to do me a quick favor. If you have a pen and paper in front of you, or if you've got your phone in front of you, I know I said put them aside on one of the slides, but if you have your phone, if you don't have a pen and paper, let's start answering some questions together. So don't overthink your answers. Trust your intuition, trust your gut. Write down the first thing that pops into your mind And question number 1, if I had boundless confidence and I knew I could achieve anything, what would I be doing in my life, in my career, and with my free time? So take a moment to write that answer down. Just the first thought that pops into your head. Trust your gut and trust your instinct. Okay, and the second question. What am I afraid will happen if I do these things? And it's okay in this situation with this question to think out the worst case scenario. Start writing down what you think, what are you afraid of? What is going to happen if you start doing the things you said you wanted to do in answer to question 1? Writing those fears down actually is a really powerful form of starting to take away the power that we give those fears. So take a couple of moments now to write those down. Question number 3. What am I afraid it might mean about me if any of those above fears came true? So what judgment do you give yourself if those things were to come true? If you were starting to do what you really wanted to do and some of your fears came true, what do you think that means about you? What are the things that pop into your head? Write those down. Question number 4. What is absolutely real and true about both of those things? The things you wish you were doing, but you're not, and the fears that you are holding on to that are stopping you from doing those things. Write that down, reflect on that question, and write down what comes to you. And the final question. What are the most powerful possibilities that could come from you doing the things that you listed in question 1? What is going to happen if you start living your best life? If you start doing what you want to do in your career and in your free time? Take a few moments now on that piece of paper or in your phone or notes to write down what comes to mind. Okay, so distorted thinking patterns. And these are the thinking patterns that we hold on to. And they're the things that really at times prevent us from moving forward. And from research that has been done, the findings have been that there are 10 common distorted thinking patterns. And what I mean by distorted is thinking patterns that aren't really true. So it's all or nothing. You have to have everything or you can have nothing. It has to be perfect or it's not worth doing at all. Jumping to conclusions. Oh my word, how many of us do this? I know I do. You kind of go from A and you jump all the way to Z in a matter of milliseconds based on the thoughts that you are saying to yourself. Discounting possibilities. So kind of being really harsh on yourself and saying, well, no, I can't do that because this didn't happen. Should statements. We should do something, but we don't take action. Labeling. Wow. We all have labels, right? We've all gone through life and collected a bunch of labels along the way. And we've probably used some in our conversations we've had with people, but they can have a really negative impact. So you might have been told you're too chatty at school. That's a label. You might have been told you're telling yourself you're someone that doesn't have confidence. You're just not outgoing. You're not made out to be doing presentations and public speaking. That's a label. So what labels are we putting on ourselves? They generally really play into stereotypes. But think about those labels that you've collected along your life, that you've paid attention to and you've internalized. What are they? And are they relevant? Are they actually true? Or is it something you've just picked up along the way? You've never really sat down and gone, hey, does this label really fit me? And do I need it? And none of us need any labels. So if you go through that list and you're like, oh yeah, that's me. It's not you. You don't need a label. Personalization and blame is the final kind of common distorted thinking pattern that we go through. So the mean girl in my head, the inner critic, we all have an inner critic. And what are the stories that your inner critic are telling you? Do any of these sound familiar? I'm not good enough. I'll never get it done. I just don't fit in. I'm gonna fail. I feel guilty. I'm underprepared. I need more skills. I'm an imposter. Wow. Do any of those sound familiar? I know they do to me. I'd love to hear any others. So what are the other things you say to yourself? Drop them in the chat box. Have I missed any? I like to think I've covered the main ones. They're definitely the ones that I say to myself. But what are the ones that you say to you? What are the ones that you sometimes play out in your mind? Write them in that chat box. Share them with me. Let me know. And what we need to do with these stories is we need to interpret our stories, interrupt them and stop them running absolute rampant in our minds. And we need to start creating more empowered stories that fill us with confidence and inspire us to take action instead of the ones that stop us and keep us stuck. So we went through that really lovely reflective process a moment ago with those 5 questions. Now, I want this masterclass to all being about giving you stuff you can put into action straight away. And that reflective exercise is 100% something you can do. And I will send you all the questions afterwards so you can kind of have them with you, print them out and do it when you feel ready. But I also know that in that moment when our brain and we are telling ourselves, I'm not good enough, I need more skills, I can't get this done, I don't have enough time, sitting down in a quiet place and finding 5 to 10 minutes to reflect is probably not the most practical thing to do, especially if your boss or there's a stage full of people waiting for you. You can't go, hang on a second, I just need to get my journal out to figure this out. So I'm going to share with you a little tip to really create a circuit breaker in your inner critic stories that you can use quite quickly in those moments. And this is what I want you to do. So you need to catch that story. So when your inner critic really starts to speak up and say, you can't do this, you're not confident enough, you're not good enough, I want you to catch it. And whilst you own that, I want you to ask yourself, is it true? Take just a moment to ask yourself, is what you are telling yourself, is it true? And you can do this all in your mind. You don't have to write it down. And then you can reframe it. 9 times out of 10, it is not going to be true. Or what you are telling yourself is not true. And then you can quickly reframe that into an action. So say it is public speaking, and I've spoken about public speaking before, and it is something that I struggle with. So the story I tell myself is, I can't do this, no one's going to listen to me, I'm going to get really nervous, and it's just going to go terribly. I can catch it and I can reframe it to say, I am confident. I do have the confidence to do this. I do have an interesting story to tell. And these people are here to listen to me today. So that's how you can reframe these things. And you can really do this as you get more adapt to catching that story. It is being able to catch it. You can do this really quickly without needing that journal exercise. You can do this in the moment to catch that and empower you and enable you to move forwards in that moment where you find your inner critic is just going crazy. So that is my little quick circuit breaker when you don't have time to do that journaling. The next thing you can do is visualization. Now, I know I generally don't go a little bit woo-woo with my coaching and what I share, but visualization is actually really, really powerful. So what I challenge you to do is set aside just 3 minutes a day. And I really do not want any excuses about this. So telling me you're too busy just is not going to cut it. We can always take 3 minutes out of our social media scrolling, right? You know, does it really add value to our lives? The amount of time we spend scrolling through Instagram. Take 3 minutes out of that. Do some visualization. And the reason visualization practice is so important is our brains don't actually know the difference between things that are happening in the physical world and the things that are happening in our imagination. So we have the ability to trick ourselves. We can trick ourselves into thinking what we want is actually the truth. So when we see ourselves in a really stressful situation in our minds, our brains actually start to trigger and start to release stress hormones. And that's just us from thinking about it. That's not even us being physically in that moment. We can re-trigger that stressful moment, that moment where we're so outside of our comfort zone by just thinking about it. And when we think about something really happy, we can find ourselves smiling and the tension just releasing and our shoulders releasing and relaxing just from thinking about it. And many people I have found talking to, they aren't really aware of how powerful visualization is because they try it once, it didn't work, and they move on instead of actually, you know, really practicing it on a daily basis. 3 minutes. Take 3 minutes out of Instagram, everyone, and visualize. So I want to talk you through some steps to help you do this in a really structured way, because most of the time people just think, and you could be, pop in the chat box if you think this about visualization. I'd love to know that it's just this fluffy thing and it's people who aren't really living in reality. And it's actually quite the opposite. It's used for a whole array of people by people who know the positive outcomes that they want in their life. And many athletes actually use visualization to help them excel in the sports. So it is tried and tested, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So power of the universe, if you sit down and you kind of go, I'm going to win the lottery, and you visualize winning the lottery, may not happen, okay? May not happen. But if you visualize that you are going to do a fantastic job at your next presentation, you can step into that. You can step into that feeling, and you can step into that emotion for 3 minutes every day. So the key is knowing what you want. So in order to visualize and manifest the kind of life you want, it's really important to have a clear idea of what you want and why. This can be achieved by understanding what you value, what brings you most joy in your life. Have you ever had that moment where you were doing something and you felt really joyful doing it? That is a good sign. That is something you might want to do more of in your life. So know what you want and know why, and be really clear on that. Step 2 is to describe your vision in detail. This is the most important step when it comes to visualization. So it's not just simply saying, I want X, right? You truly have to step into that environment of you already having what it is you're striving towards, and you need to describe it in as much detail as possible so that you can manifest it into your life. You want to create a really clear vision of what it should look like. You can write it down in detail. You can create a vision board. You can just do it in your mind as well. I do recommend using vision boards or writing it down. But if you have a very clear, organized thought pattern, you can actually just do it in the power of your own thought. And this will help you to create a really clear picture of what your life will look like. So ask yourself, if I had a magic wand to make anything happen, what would my life look like? Step 3, visualizing and creating emotions. So once you're ready, you can take a moment to start in visualizing the actual outcome. Start to imagine the sights, the sounds, the smell, even the taste of achieving what you want. How do you feel? What emotions are going through your body? And really embody that as you are visualizing. And step 4, take daily action. So there's this saying, I have heard it so many times in my life, and I actually started to use it recently, is Rome was not built in a day. Okay? Similarly, the life you want to create is not going to happen overnight. It will happen eventually in a series of days, and actions are working towards that goal. So visualization is really, really important, but you also need to take action. The visualization keeps you focused on what it is you want and how you are going to get there. And then the final step, have grit and perseverance. When it comes to creating the life that you want, you will be faced with challenges. And it's really important in those challenges, you really tap into that emotion, tap into why you are striving towards what you want to get to. And that will really help you overcome that challenge. It's not a straight line process, but it is a fantastic process to keep you grounded and focused on what it is you want to achieve, and to ensure that you are focused enough and you have that grit and perseverance to take daily action. And the next step, affirming your truth. So believe and feel it emotionally. I personally am someone who has never really taken much notice of affirmations. I used to think they were a little bit woo-woo for me, a bit out there. And how can possibly a thought or a statement that you say to yourself really change your reality? And it's kind of come for me over time. It's been part of my journey, and I want it to be part of yours. Affirmations are so powerful. You have to let me know. This may be a reference that makes no sense to anyone. I am an absolute chick flick guru. I watch way too many chick flick movies, and I love the line, and this is so true of affirmations. From the wedding date where Victor, Kate's dad, says to Kate, I remember reading a fascinating article in the New York Times once where this guy said every single woman has the exact love life she wants. And you know what? I agree with him, and I refuse to believe this is what you want, Kate. And that is just a fantastic reminder of what affirmations are all about. If we keep telling ourselves we can't do something, we're not deserving of something, we won't have those things. We won't do what we need to do because we are telling ourselves we can't. Our thoughts become our reality. And it is backed up by science, okay? The science is there. And like I said in our previous slide, we can trick our brains. So when we repeat statements to ourselves over and over, our bodies, our minds start to believe they're true. Thank you ever so much. I'm seeing people in the chat box knowing what I'm talking about. The wedding date. Perfect. So what is it you are striving towards? What is it you are struggling with right now? I want you to think about just one thing. I want you to write that down. So take that moment with that piece of paper, write down that one thing you are really struggling with right now, that one thing that is stopping you from moving forward. Okay, now I want you to reframe that statement into something positive. So it can be, I am confident. And if when you say, I am confident out loud, there's a bit of resistance for you coming up and it's hard for you to say, change it up. Change it up to say, I'm growing with confidence every day. So there's less resistance in it. So you turn that statement that you've kind of gone, I'm not confident, I'm not capable, change it into, I am fully capable of achieving my goals, or every day I become more and more capable of achieving my goals. Pull it back. If you're not ready to go straight to the best possible outcome, you can pull that affirmation back to something you are more comfortable with saying, so there is less resistance. Because if there is resistance in your affirmation, you are going to struggle to truly believe it, no matter how many times you say it to yourself. So find a happy medium, and you can mix it up. And the way I use affirmations, really simply, it doesn't actually take a huge amount of time. Once you've figured out what it is you want your affirmation to say, and make it a short statement, don't make it a massive paragraph, one sentence, no more. I say them to myself in my head when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning. So I don't have an extra step in my day. I haven't increased the things I do in my morning routine. I've included them in something I already do. I know some people that write them on Post-it notes and stick them on their fridge or their PC screen at work. Find something that works for you. Find something that is going to remind you of the affirmation that you are currently working towards, and find a way of including it in your daily routine. May it be brushing your teeth like I do. While you're at the gym, you can say it to yourself in your mind. Why, you're on your commute to work, whatever works for you, and find that reminder so you do it. And the more you say it to yourself, the more you will start to believe it, and the more you will start to embody it. And if there is any resistance in your statement, just dial it back a notch, work on it, and until you can say that one of, I am becoming more confident every single day. As an example, when you get really confident with saying that, then say, I am confident. So mix up your affirmations as you go on your journey. Find your inner voice, okay? So this is my next step. We so often forget to listen to ourselves. So we need to learn to tune into our intuition and listen to our gut. For me, this has been the most transformative superpower of them all. Everything I've shared with you today, for me, this has been the biggest one that has helped me on my journey. And that is listening to my inner voice, listening to my intuition, because your inner voice and your intuition has got your back. It is going to guide you. And when you develop and strengthen your sense of inner knowing, your fears have less and less power over you. Not because they are disappearing, but because the strength of you knowing becomes so strong that you have no choice but to follow your inner voice and that feeling. Every single one of us is intuitive, including you. So if you're sat there thinking, oh no, I'm not very intuitive, I can't listen to myself, I can't be trusted, that is not true. You've got this. You've had those moments in your life when you simply knew something was a fantastic idea or something was a really bad one, or there was that person who shouldn't have really been in your life, or there was that choice that was the right or wrong choice for you. You knew, your gut was telling you yes or no to that. I know for me personally, from time to time, I have stopped listening to my inner voice and I stopped trusting my intuition. And it is now time for all of us to get reconnected. Our intuition speaks to us through our body and through our emotions. So slow down and pay close attention. Then you will begin to learn how to interpret your inner knowing and how it shows up for you. So I want to try something with you all on this call today to get you started on your journey of being reconnected with your inner voice. So if you can do me a favor and close your eyes just for a moment while I'm talking. I'll tell you when to reopen them. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you sat wherever you are with your eyes closed for too long, but close your eyes and just listen to my voice. So I want you to find a moment thinking of a job you once had that you never wanted to go back to, or a person you never felt quite comfortable around. Keep those eyes closed. And while thinking of that job or that person or that situation you just knew you should not have been in, I want you to take a few deep breaths. And ask yourself if going back to that job or spending time around that person, whatever it is that you're holding in your thought pattern right now, is something you should really do. Now, as you work through that scenario in your mind, I want you to pay attention to any movement or any physical sensation in your body, as well as any emotions that come up for you. Did you sway in a particular direction? Did you feel a churn in your stomach, starting to feel a little bit sick? Did you feel your jaw tighten? Did you feel your shoulders starting to hunch upwards as you were thinking about that uncomfortable situation? Did you feel a cloud of gloom or sadness wash over you? Pay attention to your body and what emotions you were feeling as you were thinking of that situation. This is your inner voice telling you no. This is how your voice shows up for you. Now, open your eyes for a second, shake it off. We want to get rid of all of those negative thoughts that you just went through. So open your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, release that negative thought pattern that I just took you through. Now I want you to settle back down, and I want us to do the same thing again, but we're going to do it from a positive perspective. So I invite you to close your eyes, take a few deep breaths in, now think about that place you absolutely love going, or a person you love seeing and that you're so at home around, so comfortable. Find that thing or that place or that person, capture it in your mind and focus on that. As you hold that image in your mind, what do you notice when you were thinking about this? Do you get butterflies in your stomach? Do you feel a smile wash over your face? Are you feeling your body just relax? And have you felt your mood lighten at all? What is it for you? What is it when you think of that place you love going or that person you love being around? Reconnect with how you feel. That is your intuition. That is your inner voice. That is your guiding light telling you, yes, yes, that is good. Now open your eyes when you are ready. So I hope you can feel the difference when you're thinking about that situation that you know in hindsight was so wrong for you, and you reconnected with that. Your body would have started to tell you things, would have started to give you some idea that that was the wrong path for you. And on the other side of the coin, when there's something that really lights you up, again, your body starts to tell you things. So those are the subtle things that you can tune back into to find your inner voice, so you can trust your instincts and follow your intuition. And the final step, the final tip I want to share with you today is to take inspired action. So we need to take action. It's all well and good having these amazingly strong thought patterns, telling ourselves we can do things, of listening to our intuition, but we must take action. And this all comes back to, thank you, Shay. Yes, such an incredible, Shay's just popped in the chat box. Such an incredible noticeable difference going through what we just went through. I'm so glad you found it powerful and helpful. So inspired action. It is part of manifestation, and it's to do with the law of attraction. I don't know if you've come across the law of attraction before, but it very much is to do with that. So taking inspired action is a critical step for manifesting our success. No doubt about it. Because the law of attraction is not this woo-woo formula that has this magical transformation to turn your dreams into reality. The law of attraction is based on setting goals and achieving goals through a process that is reinforced by reprogramming our subconscious and our subconscious mind. And they're the steps I've just taken you through, the tips to enable you to reprogram that kind of inner voice of yours, those things you were telling yourself. But if we do all of that and we don't take action, we're not going to get to where we want to get to. So an inspired action is when you do something because you feel the strong inner urge to do it. Like that gut feeling, like tuning into your intuition and it telling you, go do that. That's the right thing for you to do. And it's not just a small action step, it's a real quantum leap towards your dreams. And this is the type of action that is definitely one of the most crucial steps in the law of attraction and manifestation. It's about doing something that brings you one big step closer to your goal and doing it with such strong emotion, knowing that it is the right thing for you to do right now. That great step, that great action, it's pulling you there. You know, in every fiber of your being, it is the right step for you to be taking. Okay. So there are some questions on the slide. So grab that piece of paper again, if you still have room on it. And I want you to write down what it is you want to achieve. Take a moment and write down what it is you want to achieve. Okay. What was your mindset of I'm not good enough and I don't have what it takes stopping you from doing? So you knew what you wanted to achieve. You've always known that. But what was that old thought pattern stopping you from doing? What action was it stopping you from taking? Write that action down. Now, I want you to break that step down into the small, tiniest steps you can. I know it said it was a quantum leap, and it is, even if it's a very small step, because it is a leap in the right direction, taking you away from your old thought pattern, not allowing your old thought pattern to stop you. So that thing, that step, that action that you can take, break it down to as small as possible steps as you can and list them out. What are those steps going to be? What are the things that you are going to do? And it could be, say you want to try using affirmations. So it could be that once you jump off this masterclass, step 1 is you are going to find a pen. Step 2 is you're going to rummage around your house to find post-it notes. We all have them somewhere in our home. If you're like me, I have no idea where mine are ever, but they're somewhere. You're going to rummage around and find them, and you're going to write 2 affirmations down. They are the steps that you are going to take. So what steps is it that you need to take to achieve what you want to achieve? Now, I want you to take one step at a time when you feel inspired to take that step. You do not have to take all of the steps at once. Just take one, and the one you feel most connected to in that moment. Okay, so jump on into the chat box. Have you just thought I have been speaking absolute rubbish for like the last 50 minutes? was I talking about? Oh, what have I shared with you? Are you scratching your heads thinking, oh my God, I don't know what I just learned? Or did it make sense to you? I want you to think to yourself, what is the one thing you can start doing today? What is the one thing from this masterclass you are going to put into action? What small change are you going to make? If you remember the slides right at the beginning, my kind of vision and mission for all of you, purpose, was to provide you with one thing, just one thing that you can now do differently to very much help you on your journey of removing that thought pattern of, I don't have what it takes and I'm not good enough. So whilst we're still all together, take a moment. If you feel safe to, pop it in the chat box. If you don't want to share it with all of us, that is fine. Write it down on your piece of paper. What is that one thing you have taken from today? What is that one thing you are going to do differently? Ah, love it. Vision boards are coming up, taking inspired action, affirmations, visualization, daily, consistency. Yes, consistency is 100% the key with your visualization. And I just saw that someone asked, can we have the slides? Yes. If you've attended this session, I will actually send you the complete replay. So you'll have my kind of talking as we go through it as well. I will send that all to you in the next couple of days. And just a little bit about me, if you will bear with me. So for those of you who know me, it's great to have you back. Really pleased to connect with you. For those of you who's first time connecting with me, hi, so happy you came and joined. I really hope you got something out of today. I am a coach and I would love to help and support every single one of you on your journey to achieving what it is you want to achieve. And there's many ways you can connect with me and work with me. So if you're not ready to embark on one-on-one coaching or you're not really sure just yet, that's cool. This is a huge sales pitch, okay? But that is cool. If you're not at that stage, that is cool. But do jump on over and join my free Facebook group, Success Without Judgment. It is a group that is all based on ensuring we all succeed in the way we want to succeed. And I jump on in there and I offer help and support and answer any questions you have. Along the way, there's activity in there pretty much every single day. So if you're not ready to embark on one-on-one coaching and you don't want to just yet, but you want to stay connected to me and you want me to continue to help with your journey, keeping you accountable, keep moving you forward, jump into my Facebook group. Love to have you there. Love to say hi to you and support you. The other thing I am offering today is to all of you a free discovery session, which I will pop in an email to you all in the next couple of days of how you can book. So what it is you will get 30 minutes of my time. We will talk through what is going on for you, what is keeping you stuck, and we will work through 3 actionable steps that you can take immediately. And we can cover anything. So I know today was around that mindset piece of getting over some of the thought patterns, the negative thought patterns we tell ourselves, but it can be anything that you want to talk through, anything that is kind of really holding you back right now. We can get that done and we can work through that together in that free half-an-hour session. So that is my gift to you for coming and spending time with me today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have got a lot of value from today and you're feeling inspired and empowered to keep moving forward and keep on your journey. It's the Facebook group is Success Without Judgment, but I will send, what I will do in the next couple of days, I will send you the link to join the Facebook group. I will also send you the link to book your free discovery call with me as well. And I will send you the link to the replay. So you have all of these slides and you can go back through them and pick up what works for you when you're ready to. And thank you ever so much. I am going to close everything out today. It has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are not in Australia, have a absolutely fantastic Saturday, just the start of the day. If you are in Australia, have a wonderful evening and a fantastic Sunday. Thank you ever so much.